I lost my mom when I was 14 years old. So at that age, losing your mother is a big factor on the route you take in life. You have these guys with the chains and the knives, and I'm witnessing so much shit. And I used to go to my mom, they fighting my, but what do you think they fighting about? Because my cousin Gil and Rob, they were doing it big already. Them niggas was like dealing with niggas from the LES, Lower East Side, and they will come up to Spanish Harlem and do what they do. He told me, yo, you gotta make some kind of noise so people could respect you, and they know who you are. When you demand attention, you slip up. Because you're making moves that don't make sense. When you move in silence, you advance more. The Almighty, like God, get me to and from home safe. Watch my family. Thank you for giving me the strength to, wake up this morning and be a provider. The lawyers say, yo, don't even challenge these guys. Just take what they're giving you. They gave me 4 years and 5 years supervised, 3 years supervised release. I'm not buying 10 bottles. I'm going to a liquor store, buying 1 bottle, keep it in the car, pour it in a little cup, and bring it inside. Because it is going to haunt you later.
Of course.
It's called money laundering. I was sleeping with one eye open, wondering who is going to bust through that door. If it's my friend, the police, my enemy.
Welcome to another powerful episode of the Off the Count podcast. I'm your host, Jason Abreu, founder of Made Up North. Today, I have the privilege, very special privilege, to have alongside a good brother, came through my brother Tone, someone who supported my growth from the very beginning that I embarked on this journey with my movement, with my mission. We live in a world today where people throw that word OG very freely and really don't know the full meaning of it. My guest today embodies that till its fullest. He's someone who lived it, survived it, and now pours back to the culture with wisdom and purpose. So without further ado, I want to welcome my brother, CEO and founder of Svccess Clothing, Tone. Thank you so much, brother, for coming through. It's a privilege, an honor, man.
Thank you for having me here today.
I know this sit down has been long overdue, but the scheduling or whatnot, and we made it happen. So it truly means a lot to me because, this platform is all about spreading positivity, to the youth, to the returning citizens. And one thing that you and I have in common is that we live that life, but today we take a different approach and stand on it where we don't glorify it.
Exactly.
And you're always constantly, still to this day, pouring gems on me. So I wanted to have this sit down with you so you could share some of the things that you shared with me. So the brothers and sisters out there, most importantly, the returning citizens and the youth, of course, they could take something from this, Tone. So before we even dive into, who Tone is today, the successful CEO, business owner, homeowner, successful construction worker, you got all these positive things going on, Tone. I want to dive into, who was Tone, before who you are today and how you got here. So, tell me a little bit about Tone growing up, where you from, and how that kind of played a part, like an influence in leading you down that path to the street life and ultimately, unfortunately, incarceration.
The process started back in 71 when I was born. My mom migrated from the Dominican Republic.
Okay.
My mother. And then my father was, Puerto Rican. We was always from Harlem, Spanish Harlem, Wagner Projects, so about 120th Street between First and Pleasant. I was in the yellow building. We was raised middle class because my mom was like a business type woman. I remember her dragging us to her job. I remember her dragging me to her office. I know she had an office. We was young. I lost my mom when I was 14 years old. So at that age, losing your mother is a big factor on the route you take in life. Because I will say that at the age of 14 is when you kind of start figuring out what you want to do and what, at that age, 14, because in the streets, when you're young, you either play the streets or you go to school, you choose your destiny. I'm a true believer that had my mom been alive to, at the time, and still today, I would have probably been a more successful person as far as, I wouldn't choose the streets as a way, of living my life because my mom was a strict lady. I was the only boy with two sisters.
Yeah.
And my mom, I remember her, a Dominican parent, real strict, very strict. Like so strict that we never even went outside. Like, she used to keep us homebody, and it was a blessing. So when I lost her at the age of 14, I had to I had two sisters to take care of because my father at the time, after my mom's passing, he went on, and he was an alcoholic. He used to drink, so I believe he had an affair because once my mom died, not too long after, he went and moved in with a lady and left me and my two sisters alone. So at 14 years old, not having the backbone of the family that's just, holding you down and taking care of you, I had to step to the plate as a man at 14 years old.
Yeah, and it's devastating, at 14, like that's a very crucial age. Like you said, you start getting the influences, and let me ask you, Tom, were you the eldest sibling?
No, I wasn't. I was the youngest sibling.
But you were the only man.
I was the only man of the house.
So you felt you had to fill that void with the absence of your mother, right?
Exactly. And I will say that at the age of 14, I was more advanced than I would say the actual 14-year-old.
All right.
Because yes, I had the discipline from my mom and her strict ways, but I was also disciplined streetwise in a sense to where, when I was younger growing up, mind you, we're talking about 1984.
Yeah.
1984, I'm 14 years old, and I see things, but, my mom wouldn't explain the things I saw and see in Spanish Harlem growing up in the 80s was crazy, and I witnessed it, when she used to send me to the store, even during the time when she was alive from the age of 10 and 13 years old, I used to go to the store. She used to send me to the store, and Wagner Crew, I remember, Crazy Bunch, Zulu Nation was out there, the Blockbusters, and I remember them, back then it wasn't about shooting. They was literally having rumbles coming out outside my building and go to the store. You have these guys with the chains and the knives, and they, I'm witnessing so much shit. And I used to go to my mom, they fighting about, but what do you think they fighting about? Oh, don't worry about what they doing. You just go to the store when I send you, don't stop it for nothing. Whatever the case may be. I remember those memories like crazy. And even there was a point in my life, I believe between the age of 12 and 13, that she used to send me to the store, and there was this one kid that used to always bully me. It's crazy. And that changed when my mom passed away, and then I started playing the streets. It reversed. I was the bully, But
and like, so then, all right, now you're 14, now you're getting older. What was it about the streets that really drew you towards that life? Was it more of a thing like, Tone, you like, now you feeling you the only man and I gotta be a provider? Or was what a lot of the youth, they get their eyes blinded to the glamour,
I would say both, because I would say both because I had to take care of my two sisters at the time that they were still living with us. And I knew that there was bills that needed to get paid in the apartment that we were living.
All right.
So it was more financial wise than the glamour. The glamour at the time, I mean, even though the fat rope chains were out back then, because my cousin Gil and Rob, they were doing their big already. Them niggas was like dealing with niggas from the LES, Lower East Side, and they will come up to Spanish Harlem and do what they do. They kind of like put me under the wing and were like, yo, your mom passed, you gotta pick up your pants and grab them balls and do what you gotta do. Okay. So I was like, all right, Gil knows what it is. And he taught me how to drive, and he put a chain around my neck, a rope chain. He like, yo, hold that, go down the block, do what you gotta do. So and not only that, but he told me, yo, you gotta make some kind of noise so people could respect you, and they know who you are. I was trying to figure out what he meant by that, but I picked up on it fast.
So then now you was running the streets, right? So how long was your run like before you had that running with Olo? Like, I know you had that, the case which we're going to get into, with the feds, but prior to that, did you have like any run-ins with like, did you get incarcerated before?
No.
No, so it was just that case.
That case only.
And how old did you like when that hit? How what led up to that federal case? Like,
what led up to the I don't know. I would say what led up to it is not paying attention to the people you surround yourself with.
Yeah.
That was a major part, because the way I was moving strategically, like, But I would say that your association is a key part of what direction you going in life.
Of course, and I'm glad you sharing that, Jem, because you sharing that, you know, Tony, it just goes to show, which is what I want, you know, the people out there to really pay attention to this, how easy it is like this to get caught up, because here you are, and I always tell people this, Tone, you could be moving all the way correct, and unfortunately, it just takes one person, one slip up, and it's a domino effect, you know. So I'm glad you sharing that, so
Yeah.
people can understand how delicate it is to really get caught up in a situation, you know.
Yeah, that theory that Hispanic parents throw on us,
Yeah.
you know, that saying,
Dime con quién anda y te diré quién es. I grew up on that too. Spanish households, Dominican household, you know, Tom.
yeah, he
Yeah.
just that's true.
Tell me who you're associating with, and I'll tell you who you are. Yeah.
Exactly. You know, and most move reckless because they seek attention. Yeah, that's what happens when you demand attention. You slip up.
Yeah.
Because you're making moves that don't make sense.
Yeah.
When you move in silence, you advance more. I always moved in silence in a way. You know, I slipped up a few times when I try to, like get a jewelry or a nice car. And those are the signs that, you headed the wrong way because
You're moving too fast.
you're moving too fast. Or not moving too fast, but like people know that you're not a working type of person.
Yeah.
They know that
You're
you
not
wake
here
up.
no 9 to 5.
Nah.
Yeah.
And even the signs when you go out, like Jay Party, I remember Jay Party. I picked you up.
Yeah, I'm glad you're sharing this.
I picked you up one day. You booked me. I had a Mercedes Sprinter, and I was trying to do positive things with myself. I was in the process of luring myself away from the streets, so I decided to purchase a Mercedes Sprinter, and I spent a lot of money, hooking it up and providing a service that we couldn't have access to if it was to call an average company, So I made it affordable.
Absolutely.
So then, I pick you up one day in Dykeman with your boys, and I'm saying to myself, I remember when I was in this position, and I don't knock you or anyone who want to enjoy themselves in the evening. I do not knock it, but I see, and I'm looking at you in the rearview mirror, popping bottles with your boys. Yo, take me here, take me there. And I'm like, and it's sad. It's sad that I knew that your day was coming.
Yeah.
I just didn't know when.
Yeah.
But looking at the people that you was with at the time, and I'm saying to myself, your day will come.
Mm-hmm.
Get it? But who am I? I'm getting your money and I'm working. But who am I to tell you, yo, bro, slow it down. You're a little too. But that's Jay Party. My whole experience with Jay Party, that's how he's been.
Yeah.
A live person, having fun, enjoying life. And it's okay. But the streets love nobody.
And you know what's funny? Yeah, it's crazy, Tom. I'll never forget that. Like I said, once we started this interview, you were the first person, and believe me, I appreciate you and forever will dearly. The first person to actually support my movement and everything I'm doing. Besides a repost on Instagram, you picked up the phone. I remember I was at my job at the time on work release, and I'm getting a call, and I pick up. I'm like, who's this? You like, it's Tone Svccess. And right then and there, you told me, yo, listen, man, I'm happy to see you change, and I'm gonna tell you something. And you just told me what you share now. And honestly, I'll never forget that because you knew. And what I want to highlight with that, Tone, I try to tell people, like, you could come out here and if you make a decision, like, I'm a change, I'm gonna do things different. Because back then, believe it or not, Tone, I told you, I had told myself, I'm change, I'm doing things different. You could lie to yourself, but you can't bullshit people, especially someone like you who lived it, who experienced it. You knew. You told me that day on the phone. You like, so what made you pick up the phone that day, though, Tone, and actually see that this time I was different, that things were different,
Yeah, I seen the signs that you was different. I mean, because it's your second bid, and you wasn't even out too long, so you got a teaser of what life can really be. But I guess you wasn't ready to handle the struggles that we go through today as legitimate people. You just wanted you gotta take steps in life.
Yeah.
You know, if you
I'll
jump,
never forget. You told me, you were like, yo, I saw you that day. I picked you up. I knew your bed was waiting for you. There,
yo,
man.
I mean, it's sad, but it
You
was
were like,
true.
I want. You told me, you were like, I wanted to go tell you, but I don't want you to take it the
Yeah,
wrong way, because
because-
sometimes people in that life, they don't want to
Yeah.
hear that.
Listen,
you know?
when I was in my peak, I don't care. You can curse?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. I don't give a fuck who you are. You can't tell me nothing. I mean, sadly, it took me to the age of 50. I'm 54. I'll be 55 in January.
God bless.
It took me to the age of 50 to open my eyes and make a change.
Yeah.
4 years ago.
Yeah.
Literally, since I made the move and moved my family out, and it took me that long. So who am I to tell? You know, I know we preach a lot of times, if we could get 1 out of 10 or 1 out of 100 to make a change, I understand that. But who are we to tell someone? They have to experience it. They have to figure it out on their own.
Of course. Yeah.
Everyone has their own mission in life to understand the process, God's work, God's process. Process. Like, there's a lot of hypocrisy going on with God. People run to God when they're in jail because they got caught. God, please forgive me, give me an opportunity. And then when they come back out, they're back on their shit again.
They forget.
But I've learned to accept God, and I learned to accept what He throws at me. And if I overcome those things, He gives me a little treat.
Yeah.
Get it? With a certification. Just little things that we don't appreciate.
Of course,
But
and again, another gem you dropping, because I'm gonna be honest, I was guilty of that. It's true what you said. When pressure bust pipes, God, Dios mío, get me out of this. And I told myself, this time around, I'm not gonna play with God no more. I mean,
there's a higher power.
Yeah,
there is a higher power. Because I'm gonna be honest, I was raised as a Catholic, and do I believe in religion? I do not. I know there's a higher power. I know there's a God. I know there's an Almighty up there.
Above us.
Something above us. But you're not gonna drag me into a church.
Mm-hmm.
You're not gonna drag me into a Catholic church, because half these guys are pedophiles. Half these guys are what about in Harlem? Those guys. What's another name for a minister? One of the ministers, a pastor, driving Mercedes and doing, like, sometimes they use God's name and faith so they could be in a position to think mentally that they doing something right, but they're not doing nothing right.
Of course.
I wake up in the morning every morning, and I get in my car. As I'm warming it up, I'm talking to the Almighty, like, God, get me to and from home safe. Watch my family. Thank you for giving me the strength to, wake up this morning and be a provider, help others. I speak to my man. He's like, "You're damn, Tone, I got a drinking problem," and I pray for him. Like, God, I hope that you can help him figure it out.
Of course, absolutely.
And then I see him on the Instagram, and he's in the gym, and he's trying to do all the positive things. I said, "Damn, God, thank you for answering my prayers. Keep him focused."
Yeah, that's good.
Because it's not all about us. It's about helping others too. It's like me telling you about your experiences that I witnessed, that but only you can figure it out. Who am I to tell you?
1,000%. And it's true. Funny you say that. Tony, I actually dive into that in my book. I just released a higher power. It doesn't necessarily mean a God, but people need to understand that there's something above us that is guiding us. So
there is
because
we can't find that one person that we could give ourselves to and tell them out. There is no one.
Yeah.
Because in reality, there is no one. People got their own problems.
Of course.
So who am I to put my problems on you? But if I talk to someone that I believe is a higher power, he's not going to answer me back, but he's going to show me signs.
Like with the experience with your boy, yeah. So now, Tone, going back to that, you caught that case and you went away. How long you went away for, Tone?
I was sentenced 4 years. I got caught up in you talking about the Fed case?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm running around the street, Cyprus. I'm doing what I'm doing. Again, like I said, when I came into the situation, niggas are already doing their thing, and I happened to get caught up on a situation that they were already investigating, or whatever the case may be. And it is what it is. I got minor participation. They separated me from the kid. They like, yo, cop out to this, and I'm saying to myself, the lawyers say, yo, don't even challenge these guys. Just take what they're giving you. They gave me 4 years and 5 years supervised, 3 years supervised release. I did what I did. And I came home, and that's all I needed, though. Because mind you, I never been incarcerated. Like, yeah, I went in for, dirt bike, wheeling, like stupid
of
shit.
course,
But
yeah.
as far as bidding, that's all I needed.
Mm-hmm.
I went back on a violation because I escaped from the halfway house on Creston.
Okay, yeah, I see the right thing,
Yeah,
Creston, yeah.
I escaped because I didn't like, answering to, security guards getting paid $10 an hour at the time, telling me what to do, check in, So then I got caught up for that. I had to do another year, on a violation for that. But that 1 year kind of like opened my eyes, like, and even that really didn't discipline me, because once I was done with supervised release, I consider myself a free man, and it's time to go.
Now, let me ask you, how was that, like that experience, your whole bid? Like, was it in their tone that you would say was a turning point, that something said, you know what, I got to come out and do things different? Or it was when you came out, seen the environment, and started, like, was there a point when you said, I'm going to get back to it?
Again, like I said, when I came back from the violation after doing my first bid, and I did another year for the violation for the escape of the halfway house, I was still locked in. I was still, affiliated with the streets. I was still, dipping and dabbing, if that's what you want to call it.
Okay.
But I was wise enough to really, really know my surroundings and who I surround myself with, and how and time myself on my surround. I was really moving strategically. At the same time, I launched my clothing line, the Svccess Clothing. I own a barbershop. I got 2 recording studios. So I'm just focusing, but very careful. But when what really got me focused is just seeing the people around me.
Like the signs, you were seeing
the signs, like
all the signs,
in my studio or in my print shop.
Yeah.
On Westchester and Kelly, I'm just sitting back and I'm just looking. I had like 30 niggas around me. I had 30 dudes around me, and I'm just looking, and I'm just seeing, the signs were there. God was telling me.
Yeah.
I had some telling me, yo, this nigga was just talking shit behind your back. I had niggas, like when I say a joke, they smile. When I turn my back, they like,
yeah.
The signs were there. The signs of hate, the signs of failure, wishing you a failure.
Yeah, that
fakeness.
Yeah.
And if there was 30 dudes around me, I would only say 2 dudes out of those 30 was 100.
Yeah.
Loyal. Wanted me to succeed.
Yeah.
The other 27 wanted me to fail. They wanted me to crash. They wanted me, down. And I don't even blame them. I don't blame them, because, they're opportunists. They want to surround themselves with people that could probably get them to the next level. They want to be around you so they could be like, I run with Tone. They want to be around you so that people could give them a bit of respect that they give to you off them, or he run with Tone.
Yeah.
But those were the signs. I didn't need prison to really get me off the streets, because I knew one of these niggas is gonna
cross you or do something funny. Yeah. And it's funny, I seen earlier today somebody, had posted something about that. You heard Tone, that when you have all these dudes around you, that it's better to have 2 solid dudes that keep it real with you than have a bunch of whole dudes around you that, like you said, laugh at your jokes for no reason, then talk behind your back.
I witnessed it. I came up with stupid. I used to come up with stupid concept just to see what
catch them. Yeah,
and they'll agree with me, like, yo, if that's let's do that. And I'm saying to myself,
you don't even know. I'm just testing you. Right?
And I do that just randomly.
Yeah,
I'm a funny dude like that. Yeah. I'll just say some stupid shit to see. I'm gonna go pick up 40, whatever, just to see, what you think. Yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
Great. All right. So you seen the signs.
Like stupid shit. I used to just test to see, you know what I mean?
But you know what? I want to get into Tone. I know you established, a few businesses, but Svccess Clothing, I know you've been pushing that for a while, and that's something, close to heart to you. So, like, what pushed you to actually launch Svccess Clothing, Tone?
I was tired of spending money on Gucci, Louis Vuitton. Yeah. It was too expensive. Yeah. You know what I mean?
You used to roll up to the parties all the time, Gucci scarf, all of that.
Yeah, it's too expensive.
Yeah, so you said I'm gonna create my own
brand. And they don't give back to the community. They really don't care. Like, and it's sad that, and that's another thing too. When I launched my I gave a lot of the things away so it could look like it's really popping to where it really became popping with French Montana, DJ Pro Style, Fat Joe, everybody, Cardi B wearing my shit.
Of
But
course.
people would rather spend a pair of $300 on Jordans or Louis Vuitton Gucci than even give me $40 for a t-shirt or $20 for, you understand?
I mean,
because success, who don't want to achieve them goals like success? I think I got a good brand. I think I got a good
100%,
design.
of course.
I mean, the VE that's in the word success is like a LV on the Louis Vuitton logo.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you 100%. And you know, Tone, like since I've been on this mission on my journey, that's why I told you how much I appreciate you, because I've noticed, sadly, people will rather, you know this thing they say, your biggest supporter is a stranger and your biggest hater is somebody you know.
True
You know,
believer of
Tone,
that.
because I feel the same way, you know, like I put out a few shirts there, here and there, you know, and it was strangers, you know, showing love, Tone, and it's always been like that, you know. So you sharing that, it just, you know, actually kind of co-signs everything, you know, that I be feeling. That's the world we live in. But what does success mean to you, to Tone today, you know, versus the Tone growing up, the younger Tone?
A success means achievements in my eyes.
Achievements.
When we all set goals,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then even the smallest goals is a success because we accomplished it.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what I always preach, because before people used to rock success. Oh, you down with Tone? We're not a gang. We're not a crew.
Yeah.
Get it? My man said, yo, I wear the hat, and people like, yo, you know Tone, but you wear Louis Vuitton, you don't be like, yo, you know,
The owner, yeah.
the owner, or you wear Gucci, I mean, but that's just the ignorance in the community when you start a pop up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
You know, there's so many brands out today. It was easier for a brand like Fubu to come out when they only had LL Cool J, because I kind of like mimic and copy that kind of like route that Damon took with the Fubu brand. When he came out of Queens Village, he had LL Cool J rock his shit, and that really people was like, oh, but that era in the 80s is different than this era.
Yeah.
Just because French Montana, Fat Joe, or anybody else wearing my brand, people know Tone, and they don't want to support Tone. They don't want Tone to win.
But you know what I think is the most beautiful thing behind your clothing line too, Tone, which is a message to all the brothers out there, sisters coming home, is that you keep pushing regardless. I noticed that, man. Like you've been vested and pushing your clothing line for a few years now. And I know not too long ago you did a fashion show in New Rochelle.
Yeah, that was more like it wasn't a fashion show. It was
a launch, a drop, or something.
Yeah, it was like it was supposed to be a launch, but I got caught up with this whole tariff thing and container things. Anyway, I don't print my clothes anymore. I get it done overseas.
Yeah, I know how it takes a while sometimes.
Yeah, so the launch didn't really kick off the way I predicted it to be, but it was just a reminder to let people know that success is still here. We're just moving differently.
Yeah, of course, definitely. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You've always kept the name alive.
Yeah, 11 years now.
Yeah,
and 11 years going on 12, and we just focus and we're moving at our pace.
Yeah, of course, definitely.
And again, I get most of my support from strangers than friends.
Always.
And that's another thing. Let's just say I had 30 dudes around me, 25 all of a sudden want to come out with their own brand.
Yeah.
And it's okay, because if I inspire you to do so, so be it.
So be it.
But why not back someone up and take it to where it needs to be, and we all get
as a team,
and we all win
100%.
Because if I get a $10 million deal, even a licensing deal, we could put each other in position to win
100%.
But no, we live a lifestyle that like 6-7 of the closest niggas around me want to do their own brand. So that's a true meaning of that. Everybody want to be a boss. Nobody want to be a part of a entity.
Entity, yeah, you're right. What were Tone like some of your biggest challenges though? Like having to come from doing that bid and then coming back out here, like and even right now in general, like I started off by saying, tell me a little bit about Tone, who you were versus now, and like one thing I want that, like I said, me and you speak from time to time. You always dropping gems on me. One thing you mentioned to me not too long ago, Tone, which I brought it up before we even started rolling this, that you told me you probably made more before, but you have more now. So I want you to elaborate on that, because, the first time I came out, I was guilty of this. People come out here and they have this misconception that they think that the only way they're going to get ahead in life is chasing that money, that street life. And touch up on that. Exactly. Break that down, Tone. Like, because I know everything you got going on, from owning your own house, having a union job and all of that. So touch up on that.
Well, one thing with playing the streets is that, yes, you gain that money. You might have a bunch of money under your mattress, but there's really nothing you can do with that money, because it's not like you could deposit in the bank, earn credit, build credit. There's no source of income coming into a bank account showing the track of how you earning that money. So yeah, you could buy the Gucci, you could buy the jewelry, you could buy the watch, you could buy the car, but that's it. That's all that is.
Yo, I remember you was breaking it down to me. You were like, to the science. You were like, yo, Jay, listen, 2 bottles of Ace of Spade. I used to pay for 2 Ace of Spade. That pays my car now. That does this,
but
and that shows the growth. Because that's what what you're supposed to be, trying to really accomplish and succeed. When you get out of prison, you're not trying to, fall back into that same cycle.
I'm not buying 10 bottles. I'm going to a liquor store, buying 1 bottle, keep it in the car, pour it in a little cup, and bring it inside. Because who are we trying to look good for? Nobody cares. Okay, Jay Party just popped 10 bottles. He had 10 girls by him. He did this, he did that. Then it's over. You go home and you realize you just spent 10 bands.
Yo, I remember when we was talking and you breaking it down to me, I'm like, yo, he ain't even lying, because that's how I handle myself. I work 9 to 5, and like you say, how you were sharing with me, Tone, yo, I got ain't nothing better than an 800 credit score, right? I told you I was able to get my LLC, trademark, these things. I wasn't doing that when I was ripping and running.
And you had the money to fund.
To do more than that.
So let's just say you're still playing the streets and you want to come up with this concept. You can't really launch it because there's no track on what you're earning this money from. Because it is going to haunt you later.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
It's called money laundering.
Yeah,
I don't care how you put it.
1,000%.
Out of 1,000 dudes, only 1% get away with it.
Yeah.
Get it? And that 1% was already probably telling.
Yeah.
So that's why he escaped, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man, you gotta work for it. I appreciate everything that I have today because I worked for it. Yeah, I had a cribs, I had businesses, but I wasn't sleeping right. I was sleeping with one eye open, wondering who is gonna bust through that door. If it's my friend, the police, my enemy, or the closest guy next to me.
Yeah, of course. And I think you and I could agree. So ain't nothing but peace is priceless, man.
Peace is priceless.
We spoke about all of this. We're like, yo, we don't gotta go to bed at night, worrying about who's gonna come to the crib. And it's true, ain't no better feeling than that.
And if karma bites me in the ass for anything I did in the past, so be it. But I think I paid my dues as far as karma is concerned. I think I'm in a clean slate. God gave me the opportunity to wake up in the morning and earn from the point that I started. And the streets is no good.
And look, now that we're getting into there, right, Tone? you just mentioned previously too, like, oh, I don't gotta worry about snitching. Because people you see the videos I put up there. I always try to throw it out there, like, some people might not want to hear this, but if you ripping and running, understand that someone right now in your team and your camp is willing to give up information.
It's gonna tell.
You're not only hearing it from me. You're hearing it from a real OG here who lived it.
That's the wave now, though.
And what's worse is that it has become socially acceptable, right or wrong?
Yes. Is even those that, let me tell you something. Even you will never know, because most of these guys is copping out. They're not even taking it to trial.
Of course. And
so the nigga that you think is your man is really the one who told on you.
And that's what happens. I mean, so like that was my situation, do want to be out here still denying it. But the reason I found out, because I heard what I heard, at arraignment. And that's what I explained to people. You know, these prosecutors, Tone, they make it so feasible for someone to go and drop statements on you because they tell you, we're going to protect your name. And the only way they're going to know is if you go to trial. And come on, Tone, you think people's trying to gamble with trial now? They're going to be like, yo, let me get that. Give me 5 years. I'm going to cop out. So you're never going to know. You know how many brothers I was incarcerated with, Tone? Doing 6, 7 years, and they had no idea who dropped dime on them.
But we're in a decade, we're in an era today that you gotta say to yourself, for who? I'm gonna do the things to jeopardize my freedom for who? For what? For what? Why am I risking my life and trying to look good, popping bottles, going clubbing, throwing money in the air? We just spoke about it.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. As soon as you walked in, you were like, yo, Jason, it's crazy, bro, that people will really jeopardize, you know, being in the comfort of their home, chilling.
Would you give this up to be in a box, a 4x6?
Nah, man.
With two other niggas in the room?
Not at all. And I want to keep diving into that for this day and age, Tone. The youth out there that glorifies prison, that glorifies that prison life. Talk to them, Tone. Please look in that camera and tell them, when you sign up for that life, what comes with that life, Tone? Because maybe they don't want, maybe they think, you know, there's this crazy guy just posting videos. So I want them to hear it from someone who really lived them and could tell them, you know, better than me.
Your turn is coming. There's no explanation. You gotta let them figure it out on their own. Keep doing what you're doing, and in a few years, you're gonna see this interview and be like, "Damn, it's true what these two dudes are talking about." We're not here to tell you what to do and what not to do. Keep doing what you're doing, but you're gonna figure it out. And when you do, you're gonna realize that you lost out on time, which you're never gonna get back.
You know what's crazy? Before you pulled up, Tone, I'm over here waiting to get a haircut. My man sends me something on Instagram that a kid posted on Instagram. You know, I'm a prison reform advocate. People know that. And one thing I do not condone is COs beating up inmates. You see me take it to my page. I always address that situation. But check this out, Tone. He sends me a video showing me that some brother, young brother, posted from his page. I guess he must have had somebody post on his behalf saying that the conditions at Elmira are inhumane because they're getting 3 meals a day. That is cold over there. I told my boy, yo, respectfully, it's prison. That's what you sign up for, right or wrong. It's not a hotel.
It's not a hotel.
You know, and
it's designed to break you to understand not to come back.
You know, like I'm reading the comments, you know, like, and everybody is sad. Everybody's like, what dude thinks is a hotel? So it's like, you know, he sent it to me. And this is some brother that was locked up on me. Also, you know, he's like, we took it back. He's like, word, man, when we was locked up, the pipes froze. It was really cold. And this is what, you know, I'm glad you sharing your gems. You heard, Tone, because nowadays they hear the music. They see homeboy doing this, that, and third. But when they in that courtroom, ain't no one riding with them.
Let's focus our attention, which is valuable. Let's focus on attention for those that are coming home. Mm-hmm. Because those that are already playing the streets, there's not much we can do
100%,
for them.
Yeah.
But one thing we can do is inspire those who are coming out or soon to be released from prison to let you know that there is light in the end of the road by being an average dude working a 9-to-5 or opening up your own business and starting an LLC, whatever case may be. The streets is dead. We're not, I think the last era to see anything, I would say, is the early 2000s. It's over. And then the time is not matching the production.
It don't make sense.
It don't add up. I lost a lot of real niggas to jail time that they don't deserve. You know, shout out to J. Cool, Floors,
my brother
Gucci,
Floors,
Chungy.
Yep.
All those guys that are home today, I will focus more on people like them because they're already home and they experience.
1,000%.
Get it? So how many more incarcerations before we really understand? Get it?
And you know, Tone, like that's the core mission behind my movement is helping these brothers and sisters avoid the same trap that I fell
Yes.
into, which is recidivism. When someone reoffends. So, like you, I also want to tell them that there is a way, to come out here. You gotta stick to what I call my formula for success, which is FDP. Stay focused, disciplined, and patient. And remember, slow motion is better than no motion. Sometimes you might, and I'm guilty of this. Sometimes I have my moments where I think I'm not doing enough, but you got to take that moment to look back and reflect where you were versus where you at now. So, with that being said, Tone, to anyone coming out right now, someone in the halfway house, and they seeing this interview right now, and they thinking, they having that thought like, I'm gonna get back to it. I'm gonna jump back in the game. What bit of advice can you give them, Tone?
Just stay solid, focus. Don't attempt it, because it's gonna get you. It's gonna bite you back. I would say that that energy you give yourself to going back to the streets, you should put it into something productive and positive that's gonna keep you out the system.
Yeah, I say it all the time.
And you're not gonna be a boss, and you're not gonna be top pay. You gotta scale it. Again, I will say I'm a true believer in the steps.
It's called setting realistic goals.
You always start from the bottom. You don't start from the top or the middle. So it might feel like, damn, I'm working for $20, $15 an hour. I want to be like this dude getting paid, $40, $50 an hour. When I first came home and I started doing the scaffolding, I was getting $17 an hour. I mean, back then, $17 an hour was equivalent to like 30 or 40, because the cost of living was a little cheaper. Things is more higher now, so the pay is like a little bit more, maybe $20 if you start in the industry. But it's not about the earning; it's about how you manage that, and because it's weird what I'm about to tell you. I've done a lot more with less than with a lot. I don't. Can you understand what I'm saying?
Of course. So you've done more producing probably less now, and you've accomplished and achieved way more now.
There you go. So you come home and you work a 40-hour week, and you look at your check and you're like, damn, I used to spend this in the club. True. But that's where it kicks in. That's the process. That's the beginning. Now you got to budget yourself. And that process is going to lead you to better things in the future, because not only you managing yourself now and you budgeting yourself, but you're creating a path to more success when the opportunity presents itself, because you've been so responsible, getting up in the morning, going to work and doing the right things, that is going to lead to a better path.
You start valuing it way more.
And you appreciate it.
1,000%.
And you sleep better.
Yeah.
And all you gotta do is wake up in the morning
and go to work. I remember Tom, when I started the page and I'm like going in, you started going in, like you posted your pictures of your job. How long you been doing that right now, Tom?
26 years.
I'm glad you mentioned that. Like all the the way I can structure my whole book, Tone, is about that, like to help people make that crossover from prison, to society, and understand, like, you gotta take baby steps.
You have to
walk, and before you run, you gotta walk. It's called realistic goals. When I came home, when you called me, I was working in a restaurant, cleaning tables.
Let me ask you something. So when you was in the streets getting that money, balling, where I picked you up an indictment.
Right?
You was living in the projects.
Yeah.
I like this place better, working legit.
Look at that. For real, right?
You was balling. You were getting money.
1,000%.
But you're in the projects.
Because when you live in that life, you stuck. You only know what you living at the moment.
Had you had that money in this state of mind where you're at today, whew.
I always say that. You heard Tone, how to have the discipline and the mindset.
But that discipline only comes from starting from the bottom.
Because you start valuing and appreciating things.
You don't appreciate it because tomorrow you're going to get another 5,000.
You spend that money. All right, tomorrow's going to come in. But I think it's fair to say, you heard Tone, both of us appreciate this life. Right, Tone, better than...
Bro, right now I'll be doing this interview indictment if you was still that nigga
And a small ass apartment, right?
in a small ass apartment. And now this is from working legit. So you bust your ass, get a small pay, but you coming home to this and a beautiful daughter, beautiful family, got presents under the tree.
It's priceless, you know, and it's good to see some brothers that have been through the situation like us and come home, like you mentioned, Jay Coop too. He's out here, Chungi also, and they on that mindset.
And they trying to keep people from going to jail.
Yeah, of course.
You're doing supporting the people coming home from jail.
Mm-hmm.
Jay Coop is trying to keep you out of jail.
Of course, me and Jay is actually, through him, I was actually able to meet another good brother, Block.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Block, Jay Coop, and the whole Lead by Example nonprofit, Reverse the Trend. I'm actually gearing up 2026. We got a lot of great things coming along. So much love to all of y'all over there. And it's a beautiful thing, like Jay he's just about to finish his halfway house.
And when you need him up here.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. We spoke about that.
You need him up here.
He said he's gonna give me that interview, Jay.
No, Jay, he knows too, But one thing for sure, watch your surroundings, trust no one, focus on you and your family. You're gonna be good.
And let me ask you, Tom, when you hear, the whole, which is why I wanted to have this sit down, is because, besides obviously all the positive and great things that you've been able to accomplish, Tone, you embody the whole foundation of my movement, which is off the count and making it count. When you hear that, what does off the count and making it count mean to you, Tone?
It means a lot. I would say that off the count is to keep you away from that count.
Mm-hmm.
Get it? And keep you focused and make it count for your family.
Do you have any regrets, Tone?
I don't.
I have one regret. You know what?
What is that?
I wish I would have gotten my shit together sooner. But the beautiful thing is that it's never too late.
Yeah, I never regret anything that I've been through and my experiences. Because without that, I won't be where I'm at today.
Of course, like I said, the only regret I have, Tone, is that I wish, off that first one, but like they say, sometimes you gotta trip more than once,
I just said it's okay. You needed that.
I needed it.
The first one wasn't enough.
I went away 18 months, reoffended.
That was a sample.
A sample, yeah. Now I've learned to embrace it, and it built me up to.
Don't regret that.
I remember, I met you outside, and now you gave me a hug. You like, yo, I used to hug you. Was way chubbier, man.
Yeah, you was. You was eating good.
Yeah, man. But I haven't, like you said, it's a beautiful thing, Tone, that two of us could come together and share our stories and bring hope to everyone out there and let them know that there is a way, and it's never too late, to change. If you could give the younger Tone, right, and the youth out there, Tone, one bit of advice today, what advice will you give them, if you could look into that camera and tell them from the heart?
Value family and focus on you, because at the end of the day, you're not only hurting yourself, but you're hurting those that love you. And you cheating out your family when you do bad decisions. So it's important that you stay focused. Yeah, that's what I would say.
I agree with my brother Tone 1,000% there. I've always mentioned that sometimes I used to be guilty of this myself too. When you go away to do a bid, my first bid, I used to be selfish, making it about myself.
Yes.
You think about the time lost, what we missing out.
You hurting the people around you.
But I think you could agree with me on this, Tone, that in reality, our family, they suffer more. They do it harder. It hits them harder, you know. They gotta stress and worry about.
And you be selfish when
so I agree with you with that. Like moving forward now though, Tone, with your whole clothing line and everything else you doing, that you pouring out with all your wisdom and purpose back to the culture. What can we expect from you, like moving forward, like what are some things you got stored coming up for the upcoming year?
Not really much. I'm retired.
You retired.
I'm just living life, selling my clothes online, and just living life.
That's
You know
beautiful.
what I mean? Like, there's nothing going on. I'm done.
Yeah, man. But
Yeah. I'm not seeking attention. I don't want attention.
Yeah.
I just want to, stay out the way.
Live your life and be
Live my
peaceful,
life.
man.
Yeah,
And
people could have the limelight. They could have the fame. They could have everything. I just want to get up in the morning, go to work, pay my bills.
and be regular. 4 years ago, when you really had that change that you said, Tone, I totally like out
That's
the
it.
way and everything. Yeah, because I used to see you at the parties all the time, man. And
Exactly. I'm done.
that's beautiful, man. That's what this whole platform is about. You heard, Tone, having brothers like you who actually walked that life, survived it. And like I said, now y'all come back and pour out them gems, so the other
Exactly.
brothers and sisters coming home, could
Stay
follow
away.
the footsteps.
Stay out of that jail system.
Yeah, ain't nothing to it, So I want to thank you, heard, Tone, for pulling up today. I truly appreciate it. It was an honor for anyone out there. If y'all want to, stay locked in with my brother, any clothing drops that he's going to be doing soon.
At Svccess Clothing
Tone
NYC.
said, tell them where they can reach you at.
At Svccess Clothing NYC on Instagram, TikTok.
Once again, there you have it. Another powerful episode of the Count Podcast in the books. If you haven't done so, my book is available on Amazon, Made Up North, Off the Count, a blueprint for successful reentry. That right there are the same tools that I used to come home this second time and make sure I stayed home. And remember, as always, freedom is not just about being out. It's about what you do with it. Each and every day, we off the count and making it count. Till next time, Tone, brother. Appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
Make sure you go follow me at Made Up North NYC and Off the Count Podcast for coaching, comebacks, and real reentry tools that change lives. Till next time, Off the Count and making it count.